I want to welcome you to the Bite Size Dental Marketing Podcast. We're really lucky to have you here, Tosha. Can you give just a brief introduction on yourself?
Yes, thank you. My name is Tosha, and I work for Aesthetic and Implant Dentistry of Lubbock. And I do our financials, and we do general dentistry, but focus on cosmetic and implant dentistry.
That's awesome. You guys are such a great practice. And the reason I wanted to have you here today is because I listen to your calls. I hear so much of your personality shine through on the phone. And I really wanted to hone in on that. And if there's something that we could all learn from you as far as phone etiquette, how to welcome the patient to the practice, how to, go through and treat them like family as we all want to do, that's really what I wanted to discuss today. So I want to start out just by understanding from the office perspective and your role in the office, what kind of feeling and emotion are you trying to bring out of your patients?
Well, when a patient calls, I want all of it to be real. I want to get to know them on that first call because it's really important, and they have a lot to say normally.
Hmm.
Because they're hurting or they were, they're miserable with their smile, and I want to get it all off that first phone call. So when they come in, we already feel like we know each other, and you're just putting a face to the name. Or
I
yeah,
love that. Yeah, definitely. What kind of things do you try to get out of them? Like, what questions do you normally ask? If I was a patient that called for the first time and I said, I don't love my smile. I saw your ad. I'm curious on how you could help me. Where do you take that conversation?
okay. I just start with how's your day? How are things going? Just start out simple, and then that buys you time stuff written down to keep talking to them, but just try to be relational. It might sound weird, but I just answer the phone with the business first, but then I pretend I'm on the phone with somebody I've known forever.
Yeah, definitely. And it's funny that you say that it's easy because I think a lot of people actually struggle with it. Whenever they are answering the phone, it's what about the schedule? What about this patient in front of me? What about this other thing that could potentially be a distraction for me from being able to have this conversation with this patient? So, whenever it comes to that, what do you usually do to take those distractions out of the picture where you can focus on that patient?
I try not to worry about the schedule. I definitely know it is an issue, especially with us because we are a small office and we really strive to get to know our patient on that one-on-one level. I just write everything down and be intentional when you tell the patient, I really need to speak to the doctor. He's in surgery because I need to see if I can put you down at this time, if that's going to work for him. And I know a lot of people think once they hang up the phone, this person's not calling me back, but do it. Follow through with what you tell the patient. And texting nowadays is so big in offices and with everybody. It's super simple and easy. Text the patient like a few hours later. I haven't forgotten about you. Doctor's still in surgery. I'm waiting just to hear back from him. I think that just shows them that you are being intentional and real, and that just wins them. That wins you over right there. It's like, wow, they really care.
Hmm. And I think that's the message that you guys really spread really well is that you do care. The character in the office of everyone that's there taking care of the patient, you just kind of exude that nature. But I think you're right. It starts with being able to be intentional and keep track of what you're supposed to be doing and what you committed to. And I think, people are fearful whenever we say, we'll call you back because we know what happens. We're never going to hear from that person again. Right. So, how do you really manage your time throughout your day to make sure that you are able to fit it in and get back to that patient in a timely manner?
Well, keep a little notebook. I just mark things off as the day goes. I'm adding, and as it continues, I'm subtracting. And just organization skills, whatever works for you. And that's not how I started. So it's trial and error. But yeah, just finding something that works for you to make sure you're staying on top. Those, I mean, not only are we changing people's lives, but just that, like, we haven't even seen them yet. And we're showing
Right.
how awesome we are. You know, yeah. So, I think that's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's an excellent point. You haven't even seen them yet. This is it. This is the impression that you're trying to make on them before they see you in person. So those little extra things that you're doing really do go a long way.
Even if it's someone that calls and I know just by that call that we're not going to be a right fit or we're not going to be able to help them. Because a lot of the times, just be forward. They'll be forward about, this is all I can spend. This is where my situation is. I don't stop because I can't help them here. I stop when I can get them somewhere in another office, maybe in the right direction, another phone number to call. I know because to me, if something does happen in the long run, or if someone asks them, "Hey, I have a toothache, who do you recommend?" Even though they didn't see us and their friend may be a better fit for us, we're going to get that referral just because we went the extra mile.
That is so, so true. And I think it doesn't matter if you're in a small town or a big city. That is still true.
We're close enough. We get some out of staters, and
Mhm.
Texas is huge, so people drive 11 now.
Yeah, definitely. Because you made such a good impression, right? Like what you did on the phone really put in their heart. I would take the time to go here because it's so special and it's so different than what we normally experience in our interactions.
And even when I get off the phone call with that patient, I'm just like, "Hey, if you call somebody else and you don't understand something or you have questions, don't hesitate to call me back. My name is Tosha, and I will, I'll figure it out. I'll at least put it in layman's. So if you do find the right office or call them back, you're understanding what they're saying now."
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's really hard living outside of dentistry to understand all the things, right? If the office says, oh, well, it sounds like you need XYZ, that doesn't mean anything to me. I don't know what you're saying. So being able to break it down for them is so important. Talk to me about using their name because I know it's so important for people to be recognized. So, what is your philosophy behind that?
I think using their name is super important. Well, one, it lets you know that you're listening. Because, I mean, and that's normally like the first thing you get is, "Hey, well, what's your name?" And there are times that I'll get on a roll and I will forget, like, oh, then I'm not afraid to ask again. Like, okay, I apologize, but, what was your name again? And I make sure that they know my name before we get off the phone because I definitely want them to, call back and ask for me or know who they're talking to but yeah, remembering names and conversations that you had, just I think it was just the other day, someone said that they were in music class or music lessons. And I was like, "Oh, well, that's neat. What do you teach?" And she's like, "No, I don't teach. I'm going to music lessons." So just getting that conversation and remembering talking to them and what, when they come in, like, how was your class or whatever. Um,
Yes.
just that's so important. Just like knowing their name. It's your job. It's what you
Yeah.
should build at. Yeah.
Right. And it really helps. And like you were talking about your notebook, I'm imagining whenever you're taking that phone call, you're writing down the name that they said, you're writing down these kind of talking points. How do you take that information from your brain to someone else in the practice to where it is really something that as they go from their journey with you to hygiene, maybe, or even to Dr. Morgan, that it doesn't seem foreign that they're meeting a stranger. They're meeting someone that already knows them.
Well, my notes can get long, and I just, I try to put down how they were on the phone, if they were rushed or felt like they were talking, or they were funny and like to cut up, or if they're self conscious and you can tell, are you going to judge me when I come in? That's a big one. We get that,
Yeah.
and I scan my notes in. I have my own place so they can read my papers, but also I put it down on the appointment in the on the computer in the schedule. So, and then of course, we all like to get together and talk before the patient comes on. Like, "Hey, this is what Dr. Morgan's really good at not coming
Mhm.
up here and looking at the schedule and saying, well, what's this patient about? What's this one about?" Even though you know the notes, yeah, there's always something you forget to type, but you remember. And then once they come in, they get to know who I am, but then they get moved on like, "Hey, John, this is Haley, and she's going to take you back and do pictures." And normally I'll go with her, help, or Michael will, and we're all cutting up and we're all making the patient feel comfortable. And it is small, it is cozy here. So
Mhm.
it makes it easy. You don't feel like a number, you don't feel rushed.
I think that's so important, especially with what you said about they already have anxiety. They already feel like they're going to be judged. So when you're all on the same page about that with this patient and being able to put that at ease for them the minute they walk in the door, like it makes such a big difference on their overall journey with you.
Right. And I think it looks good. Also, kind of funny, but like you can tell Dr. Morgan has had some aesthetic work done. And I think that looks good because now he can relate to the one on one, talk to him about stuff. And I think that's important. And we have a lot, I mean, we definitely do not make people feel uncomfortable. If anything, we tell funny stories and try to relate to them and make it at ease. And sometimes I'll even get caught just keep them on the phone because I'm upfront for it. I think that's how I do it.
It is funny though, because you are really engaging with them on the phone. So like the phone calls at your practice are a little bit longer than normal, but listening to them, they don't feel longer. They feel like they go so quick because you just have such good conversation with these patients. And, I heard one the other day where a gentleman called in. He's like, "Hey, Tosha, it's Bill or James or whatever his name was." And he's like, "I'm just following up with you on this information that I received from my insurance company." And you're like, "Oh, yeah, definitely. Hey, how'd that thing go last week?" And I was like, how does she know these things? Like, how does she remember? But with the note taking, I think it makes such a big difference.
Well, and then after several appointments with them, you sincerely know them. It's no longer, I can throw the paper away.
Yeah.
Our family at that point. Lately, it's been amazing just because of the referrals that we're getting based off our patients. And that is the biggest compliment you can get. I mean, that is above and beyond like TV and radio and stuff, like just a patient telling them, come here. Yeah.
I absolutely agree. And I was on the podcast recently talking about referrals because so many people these days are choosing who they do business with based on what their friends and family told them. We can put as much out there as we want to. And, we all see branding all day long. We see it on Instagram, on Facebook. It's everywhere surrounding us. But I'm more inclined to make a decision because my friend had a good experience or my family member. So when it comes to that, like what things do you do at the office to thank a patient for their referral?
Well, we have some gift cards. I mean, we really like to spoil everyone names, but we have some that have sent multiple customer patients to us. But even other offices, like we have an endo office here she is amazing. She sends us patients left and right if they come in there and it's just they don't need endo, but they need something else. But I mean, don't let me lie. Like if who's listening, we are small. We don't have really a hygiene department.
Yeah.
Fast paced, 2 doctors, 4 hygienists, phone never ends. And I think it just got me to where I am today. But I've always been that relational person on the phone, regardless, because it is not like sounding like a robo operator.
Or like you're rushed.
Like that. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, they want to feel valued and they want to feel like they made the right choice by calling. And if we just can't wait to get them off the phone, that's not what they want to feel like.
No, and that's what brings them back.
Hmm.
Even if we didn't get them scheduled and we weren't that fit, that's what sends people to us. And that's what gets that patient back eventually because of quality, not quantity. And that is so important.
I totally agree. Is there any advice that you would give to anyone in your role to make them more successful?
Patients, be patient and real. Like if they are coming in and they're having to share these various stories about their hygiene, their personal life, and you're really going to get to know them. And don't be afraid to let them get to know you on that personal level either, because that makes it even more real and more personable. Is for them to really get to know you, and that's really cool because you'll see your relationship with that patient just really open up.
I love that. I think that's so important. And then when you see them at church or at the grocery store, it's like you already have that connection because you're running into them around town, but you formed it in the office.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just added another friend to your life. A good one.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. And you're doing monumental work that's changing their life, literally changing their life. So that is something to celebrate. You want that kind of person with you as a friend.